Hey everyone, my name's Dave, this is Custom Spray Mods, and I've just painted this car and it's not good enough. So I painted this car on Thursday and now it's Saturday. But when I painted it, because I painted in this spray booth, this isn't just a spray booth. We do body repairs in here, we dry sanding, we've got dust everywhere, there's a tool shop out there and there's a forklift, so we get plenty of dust. There's a big extraction fan here, and that sucks a lot of the dust off the walls, off the floors, off your body, everywhere, and it's all landed in my paint job. So on the roof of this car, I've got heaps of dust, heaps of fluff, and I need to get rid of that so I get a perfect finish. So yeah, you can probably see it, put up some footage now. There's bits of dust and fluff. I've got to cut that out and buff it, and I'll do that now. So generally you can buff 2K clear the next day. It's not the best, it's better if you leave it a few days. This was painted on Thursday, today is Saturday, so it's left for over 24 hours, and that's a good chance for the clear to fully cure, and it's going to allow me to buff it without having any problems. 2K clear, despite popular belief, doesn't need to be baked. It can cure by air overnight, and it just gets harder and harder as time goes on. Baking just speeds up the process. So yeah, it's been left for a few days, now I'm going to buff it. I'm going to sand it with some 1500 grit, then 2000, then 3000, then I'll get on a foam buff and buff it out with some compound. This is a Kovax denibbing block. This allows you to stick these Tolex sanding sheets to the back of it. And they're available in 1500 grit, 2000 grit and 3000 grit. I'm going to start by sanding the small bits of dust with 1500 grit, then I'll turn it around and finish sanding it with 3000 grit. Then it'll be ready to buff out. You can see here just how bad the dust is. Basically, without sanding it, it's hard to notice on a small scale, but once you put the sandpaper on it, it really exposes the high spot. So we need to sand that down, level it out, and get the clear perfectly flat. So the rule is you want to always try and double your sandpaper grits. So I've started with 1500, I'm going to double that and use 3000. So I'm using 3000 on this sandpaper. This is going to get out the 1500 grit scratch marks and make it easier for me to buff out. You don't want to go from 1500 straight to 5000 because it's just not enough to get the scratches out. So using this block and sandpaper combination is quite time consuming. Basically, if you've got a lot of dust on your paint job, it can take a while. So I'm going to move on to a air sander and I'm going to sand the dust out using that. Now this is a 1500 grit Tolex sanding disc. It's basically exactly the same type of sandpaper but in a Velcro disc. I'm putting it on a backing plate which is soft. It's called an interface pad. And I'm just going to go over the panel and sand the dust out using the machine. This is a 2.5mm orbit, so it's quite fine and it's going to get those scratches out, get the dust out quite easily. Now you can see here in just this small area there's 3 pieces of dust that's basically exposed now that I've sanded it, and that's enough to just make the paint job look really bad. So I'm going to keep sanding until that's completely out, completely flat, then I can move on to the next step. It's important when dry sanding like this to always stop and clean the surface and clean the pad every few minutes just so you don't put more scratches into the paintwork. The paint is quite soft because it's pretty new, so you want to make sure it's not getting scratched up more than we need to. Because the air sander is quite aggressive, I'm going to move up to 2000 grit sandpaper and go over all the areas that I sanded with 1500 with the 2000. And don't forget to clean it after every pass so we don't put deep scratches in the paintwork. Now I've attached the 3000 grit sandpaper disc to the machine. I'm going to go over the whole area with 3000 grit. You can actually see the difference between the 2000 grit finish and the 3000 grit finish. The 3000 grit almost looks like it's shiny already. Now that I've sanded the whole panel with 3000 grit, I'm going to clean my buff pad and use a hard foam pad and the Gelson 1898 compound.
This is a liquid compound and it's awesome for getting out the 3000 grit scratch marks. So I've done a small test area and found out that I only need 2.5 passes of the buff to get the paintwork scratch free. Basically one pass is left and right, up and down 2 times each. So I only need to do that 2.5 times to get the 3000 grit scratch marks completely out. After each pass, I'll apply a small amount of compound onto the pad, work it in, and then continue getting rid of the scratch marks. There's really no need to be afraid of the rotary buff. It is quite aggressive, but if you keep the buff pad flat on a flat surface, it's very hard to burn through the paint. Now that I've done the whole roof, gotten rid of the 3000 grit scratch marks with the hard foam buff pad and the 1898, I'm going to use the Gelson 1870, which is like a swirl remover, and that's going to get rid of all the buffing marks from the first step and leave a perfect scratch-free finish. Going over the panel, doing 2 passes on each section and cleaning it off with a super soft microfiber cloth. Once that's all done, you can apply a paint sealant or a ceramic coating to the paint. That'll help it last longer and just have a great shine. If you are going to apply a ceramic coating, make sure you prepare the surface with some kind of all-purpose cleaner, alcohol-based cleaner. Make sure you get rid of any compound residue, then you can go put some ceramic coating on it.
Well, there you go. I had dust and fluff all over the clear coat of this car. I sanded it out with 1500 grit, then 2000, then 3000 grit. I buffed out those sandpaper marks with the yellow foam pad, the Gelson 1898, and that's on the rotary machine. Then I moved on to the black foam pad using the Gelson 1870, and that finished it off and got a beautiful, perfect, scratch-free finish. I didn't even touch the dual action polisher. I didn't touch the Bigfoot at all. I didn't need to. The rotary just did its job and got a really great finish on this clear. Now this Gelson 1870, it's got no fillers in it. That means the scratches are completely removed. They're not filled with any kind of polymers or anything like that, which means when the car is washed or cleaned, those scratches aren't going to reappear. They're completely gone until the car gets scratched again. So using these products, the rotary machine gives you the quickest and basically the nicest finish on your clear coat. I mean, the machine is quite cheap. It's only $99 for the machine, probably about $50 for the pads and the backing plate. You know, you can make your paintwork look awesome. No matter how bad it looks off the gun, no matter how much dust you get in it, all you need to do is give it a sand, give it a buff, and you can get a really great expensive finish with some cheap tools. So hope this helped you in your next paint job. Get your gun out, get your buff out, spray it, buff it, get a matte finish. See you next time.